Once upon a time, there was a big kingdom. There was a king and his son. The king was getting older and older, and he was hoping for the prince, his son, to finally get married and become the king of the palace. One day, the king decided to organize a party so the prince could meet all the young ladies around the kingdom. However, the prince, not convinced with any of the young ladies that assisted to this party, he rejected them one after one. And he continued like that even though his father, the king, tried to convince him several times to decide to take one of the young ladies and marry them. As he continued to reject them after a couple of attempts, the king, very upset by his decision, asked him to go to leave the palace and to not come back until he finds a wife. After his father commanded him to go and find a wife to finally get married, he took his horse and went around the forest. He was there for hours and hours after he finally found out an orange tree. He found out three golden oranges and he took all of them, got his horse, and continued with his ride along the forest. After several times of going around the big and green trees of the forest, and in a very long way, the prince became very tired. It was very hot and he became very thirsty. So he decided to stop and eat it. As long as he did that, one young maiden appeared and begged him for water. The prince said no, as he didn't have any water in his hands. He continued eating the orange while the young maiden disappeared. And then the prince decided to continue his path. He took his horse and continued all the way along the forest. As he continued walking and riding his horse, he became once again very thirsty and tired. So he decided to stop. As he cut the second orange, a second maiden appeared and begged him to give her some water. As he didn't have, she disappeared, and the prince decided to continue his journey. As he already knew what to do, he decided to go and look for water as soon as he could the third magic orange. Once he was ready to do so and cut the magic orange, a third maiden appeared and begged him for water. As he was already prepared, he gave her some water. She thanked for it, and as he was very surprised by the beauty of this young maiden, he decided to take her to the palace and marry her. They took a long journey back to the palace, and the prince decided to present his future wife to the king. As soon as they arrived to the palace, the king seemed to be very happy with the decision that his son has took, and he finally proclaimed them king and queen of the kingdom. However, the evil witch, the one responsible of imprisoning the princess into the magic orange, knew about what happened and how the princess became the queen of the full palace. So she decided to take a long journey to the palace and try to trick the young queen into another course. As soon as she knocked at the door of the palace, the queen was the one to receive the old lady. Curious by what this old lady was offering her, she found out on that little basket of hers a little pin. She puts the pin in her hair and transforms her to a dove. One day, hunting and searching, the king found it and put it into a cage. Curious by what his eyes were seeing, he found out that the dove was wearing a pin. He took the pin out of the dove's feathers, and when he did that, the queen appeared right into his eyes. The queen was very happy about it because he was finally able to find his wife and they could continue to live happy ever after. After this happened, the evil witch lost all of her powers and just became an old and lonely lady, while everybody in the palace lived happily ever after.